Welcome back to our discussions and knowledge gaining sessions. This time, I'll again talk to you about sales. Given you general idea about the prospects of sales in India. I have given you some ideas about selling. I've given you some about ideas about selling ability. Today, I shall talk to you about the sales process. After all, if you have to sell, you have to adopt a process to do that. Process means it's a structured process based on studies and observation and research. And sales is not a off the cuff thing. Well, we generally feel that, but it has its own basis. Let us think what a sales is. It can be an informal sales. I go to a shop, I buy a cake. That's a sale. I go to a company, represent them, sell on their behalf, say a machine or a computer. The company can be public sector, private sector, individual. Then I can go to a company and sell them a project. Project can be 1,000 crores, project can be 10,000 crores, will depend upon the customers, and then again will also depend upon your own process and homework which you have done for them. Now, let us again say that sales is a process. A process means it's a well thought out of series of actions. It's not just haggling as we may feel it to be. And in this, there's a seller and buyer. Both want to cover their own risks. They want to manage their own risks. The buyer may have his own criteria for managing the risks. The seller may have own criteria for managing risks. So you have to have perception that what risk he wants to come for him this thing. Now in sales you got standardized customer interactions. So standardized interaction means that you have to find out about the needs of a sales of a consumer or a customer. You have to analyze the needs. You have to then find a solution. So that is what called standardized interactions. Then it requires a achievable revenue generation. Sales must generate revenue, otherwise there is no idea of a sales. There are various steps in sales. The first step in a sale is prospecting. Prospecting means you are looking for a buyer. You are looking for a buyer. Either the marketing helps you, or you do a scanning of the environment and find out the fit between your product and your customer. Go through their websites, go through the market intelligence reports, and try to develop a fit. After that, you have done that, you have to prepare yourself for a sales. What is your product? How your product can meet the needs of the customer? Is your product in competition? Is your product saleable? Will your prospective customer accept your product? If yes, on what terms and conditions? That work you have to do the thing. After that, you have to decide on the approach. How are you going to approach your salesperson? Sometimes you make contact with the salespersons through internet, sometimes through direct dialing, sometimes through direct calling, and there is either a face-to-face meeting or a meeting over the telephone. And a common method is normally arrived at. There is also a premium approach when you present your potential client with a gift at the beginning of the interactions. That's normally done in a high value. There can be a question approach where you are questioning to get the prospectors interested. There can be a product approach where you give the products to the customer or give him a sample for a free trial to review about the product or the service. After that, you have to now seek his intention to either consider purchase. At that stage, he may have some objections, and you have to answer the objections. This is a very important part of the sales process, which normally is underrated and not done. Successful handling objections and allocating a separate goods for demonstrations is very important. So your customer handling has to be very good, and for that you have to do research again. Customer handling objections will increase your chances of sales and will increase your results over a period of time. One thing about objections is you got to be persistent. Persistence and confidence about this thing. Then comes a closing of a sale. In the closing of the sale, you get the decision from the client to move forward, and depending upon your business, you might try to use other sales strategies with him. That could be alternative choices clause. You may offer some alternative choices to him. You may offer extra inducements to him, and you may create some other attractive proposition for him, that the price will be fixed till the end of this month. Then we tend to increase the price. This is basically a very silly way, but this is normally also done now. Once this is done, you have to do the follow up. And the follow up stage starts once you have closed the stage, the sale. And then you start the follow up stage. This strategy will help you to retain the customer in future and will enhance the chances of a repeat business and as well as reference. So you have to ensure a good follow up, because getting a new customer is about 6 to 7 times more difficult than an old customer. So this is the general aspects of the sales. Now, also we will now talk about a little bit about a customer. What is your role towards the customer? For customer, you have to develop a solution, and that solution you can only define once you have understood your own product, you understood the problem of the customers. Then you can use your product to solve the client's problem. There are various types of customers. The customer is, as you will define, recipient of goods, services, or ideas. Then there's an intermediary customer, a customer who's only a trade customer, like a distributor or a retailer. He only holds good for the shopkeeper, and you buy through the shopkeeper. An ultimate customer you is has different characteristics than a trade customer. Trade customers are very knowledgeable. They are very, very clueful people. Ultimate customer may have certain amount of ignorance, more inquisitive, and little difficult to get a purchase decision out of person. Then there's a term called external customer, customer which is out of your organization. The customer which is out of your organizations can be your other stakeholders. They are the one who pay for the product and services, and hence you got to develop a good external customer service. They may be a internal customer. Now your accounts department is your internal customer. You got to provide him with the details. HR is again internal. So all the major departments in an organizations are called internal customers. So you have to now get some idea how to think about the customer, how to do the sales. So I think I have given you a reasonable amount of idea about the sales process and a customer. Now next we will be talking about is the customer's expectations.